Friends, today I want to speak to you about the greatest battle you will ever face. It's not a fight against others. It's not a struggle with the world around you. No, the fiercest war you must win is the one within yourself. It's you versus you. Inside every heart lies two voices, one that encourages, uplifts, and strengthens, and another that doubts, fears, and drags you down. This internal war is silent but fierce. It decides whether you will rise or fall, whether you will live in victory or defeat. But here is the truth. You have been given the power to choose which voice you listen to. You can decide who wins this war. Victory is not about how hard life hits you, but about how firmly you stand when life tries to knock you down. Remember, the greatest victories come from conquering the weaknesses within. When you overcome your fears, your doubts, your pride, and your anger, you win the war. This battle calls for courage, persistence, and faith. Not just faith in something greater than yourself, but faith in the strength you have been gifted to rise above your challenges. So stand firm today, look within, and choose victory. For when you win this war inside, nothing in this world can defeat you. Inside every person lies a battlefield far more intense and significant than any you will find in the world around you. This is a place where no one else can fight your fight for you. The greatest struggle is not with those who oppose you externally, but with the forces inside your own heart and mind. It is there in the quiet chambers of your soul that the war is waged day by day, moment by moment. What makes this internal conflict so challenging is that your enemy and your ally are one and the same. You. The very person you see in the mirror each morning carries within them the power to build or to destroy, to encourage or discourage, to lift up or to tear down. It is the paradox of human nature that you are both the battlefield and the warrior, the enemy and the friend. This internal struggle can take many forms. Sometimes it is a voice of fear that whispers you're not enough, that you will fail before you even try. At other times, it's a surge of pride that convinces you that you don't need help or guidance and that you are better off alone. Sometimes it is doubt creeping in, stealing your confidence, and paralyzing your dreams before they can even take flight. Yet within that same heart, there is a voice of courage, of hope, of determination. There is a strength placed within you that reminds you of your true worth, your God-given potential, and your ability to rise above the storms of life. The warrior inside is not one who never falls, but one who refuses to be defeated no matter how fierce the battle. The enemy within is deceptive because it is disguised as your own thoughts and feelings. It masquerades as your insecurities, your regrets, your guilt, and your bitterness. This enemy feeds on your weakness and attempts to steal your peace by convincing you that failure is final, that change is impossible, and that you are powerless to overcome your past. But the ally inside you is just as powerful, if not more so. It is your conscience, your sense of right and wrong, your desire to grow and improve. This inner ally speaks in the quiet moments of prayer, reflection, or stillness when you hear a gentle call to be better, to do better, and to live with integrity. It urges you to choose forgiveness over resentment, action over apathy, and faith over despair. This internal battle is ongoing and unrelenting because life itself challenges every part of you. Every temptation, every setback, and every trial tests your inner resolve. The war is not a one-time event, but a continuous choice to stand firm in the face of internal doubts and external pressures. It is in this choice that your character is formed and your destiny shaped. Understanding that the fiercest war is within means you must become both vigilant and compassionate with yourself. You learn to recognize when the enemy is speaking, lies disguised as truth, and when the ally is calling you to courage and perseverance. This awareness is the first step toward winning the war within and unlocking the power to live a life of purpose and victory. Inside each of us, there is a constant conversation happening, a dialogue between two voices that shape our thoughts, feelings, and actions. One of these voices offers encouragement, hope, and strength. It urges us to believe in ourselves, to keep moving forward despite setbacks. The other voice sows seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, whispering that we are not good enough or that failure is inevitable. These voices battle for control over our hearts and minds every single day. The uplifting voice is the voice of faith, courage, and resilience. It reminds us of our true potential and the possibilities that lie ahead. When we listen to this voice, it energizes us to take risks, face challenges, and overcome obstacles. This voice is patient and persistent. It stands beside us when the world feels heavy and keeps us anchored to our dreams even when the path seems unclear. Conversely, the other voice feeds on our insecurities and magnifies our weaknesses. It is quick to highlight every mistake, every shortcoming, and every fear. This voice tells us that we are alone in our struggles, that our efforts are futile, and that giving up is the safer choice. It can be harsh and relentless, and if left unchecked, it will steal our joy and paralyze our progress. What makes this battle of voices so powerful is that both speak from within us. They are not external critics or cheerleaders, but parts of our own inner world. We can't silence one without addressing the other. The key lies not in ignoring the negative voice, but in learning to recognize it for what it is. A liar disguised in the language of truth, seeking to keep us small and stuck. Choosing which voice to follow requires intention and awareness. It demands that we listen carefully and discern which thoughts empower us and which thoughts imprison us. When the negative voice speaks, we must challenge it with truth, reminding ourselves of past victories, the strength we possess, and the hope that still burns inside. We must refuse to accept lies that diminish our worth or cloud our vision. This conflict between the two voices is the source of much of our internal struggle. It explains why at times we feel confident and capable, yet moments later we are overwhelmed by doubt and fear. It's a tug-of-war that defines the daily reality of human experience. Yet it is also the place where transformation can happen, where new habits of thought can be formed, and where courage can be nurtured. Learning to consistently choose the voice that lifts us up is a skill that grows with practice. It may not be easy, especially when the negative voice is loud or persistent. But every time we resist it, we strengthen our inner warrior. Each act of choosing hope over fear, faith over doubt, and courage over hesitation moves us closer to winning the war inside. In this ongoing battle of voices, the power to decide which one will shape our life is a gift and a responsibility. By choosing the voice that encourages and builds us up, we pave the way for growth, healing, and victory. The war inside is not about silence, but about selecting the voice that leads us toward the life we were meant to live. One of the most profound truths about the battle within is that you hold the power to decide its outcome. No external circumstance, no matter how difficult, can force defeat upon you unless you allow it. The war inside is ultimately a battle of choices. Choices about what to believe, how to respond, and which path to take. This power to choose is both liberating and weighty, because it means your destiny is not fixed but shaped by every decision you make. Every moment presents an opportunity to choose. When fear tries to take hold, you can choose faith instead. When doubt clouds your mind, you can choose trust in yourself, in your values, or in a higher power. When temptation calls you to give up, you can choose perseverance. These choices, though they may seem small or insignificant in the moment, are the building blocks of the life you create. With each decision, you either empower yourself or hand over control to negativity. This power of choice is what separates those who live in victory from those who live in defeat. It is not about having perfect circumstances or never facing hardship. Rather, it is about the daily decision to rise above those hardships, to refuse to be ruled by negative thoughts or emotions, and to assert your will toward growth and healing. The choice to stand firm in the face of adversity is what wins the internal war. Understanding this power requires self-awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts, emotions, and impulses without automatically acting on them. When you become aware that you can pause, reflect, and then choose your response, you reclaim control. This pause creates space for your inner strength and wisdom to rise instead of being overwhelmed by fear or doubt. Choosing who wins inside is also a matter of habit. The more you choose courage, hope, and faith, the stronger those qualities become within you. Like a muscle, your willpower grows with exercise. Over time, choosing the positive and life-giving option becomes easier, and the negative voices lose their power. This is why consistency and choice matters so deeply in winning the war within. Sometimes the power of choice feels limited when emotions run high or when pain is deep. In those moments, it can seem impossible to choose peace or hope. But even then, the power to choose remains. It may be as simple as choosing to take a breath, to ask for help, or to focus on one small step forward. These small choices accumulate and create momentum toward healing and victory. The responsibility of this power can feel heavy, but it is also a profound source of freedom. It means you are not a victim of your past or your feelings. You are the author of your story. You have been given the ability to rewrite your internal script, to change the narrative that has held you back, and to claim the victory that is already within your reach. Every time you make the conscious choice to align your thoughts and actions with what builds you up rather than tears you down, you are winning the war inside. This power of choice is your greatest weapon, your secret strength, and the key to living a life that is truly free. Life often presents us with challenges and circumstances beyond our control. There are moments when the world feels harsh, when setbacks come unexpectedly, and when failure seems to lurk around every corner. Yet the true measure of victory is not found in avoiding these hardships, but in how we respond to them. Success does not depend on perfect conditions or a smooth journey. It depends on our attitude and choices in the face of difficulty. When adversity strikes, it can be tempting to feel overwhelmed or defeated. But those who win the internal war understand that circumstances, no matter how difficult, do not have the final say. Instead, it is our response, the way we meet these trials with courage, determination, and faith, that shapes the outcome. This perspective shifts the power back into our hands, reminding us that we can rise above even the most trying situations. Our response is a reflection of our inner strength and character. It reveals who we truly are beneath the surface of fear or pain. When we respond with resilience, we demonstrate that we refuse to be controlled by external events. We show that our spirit is stronger than any setback and that our hope remains unshaken despite life's storms. Victory over circumstance also requires us to embrace responsibility for our reactions. While we cannot always choose what happens to us, we can always choose how to respond. This is a liberating truth because it means that no matter the challenge, we are never powerless. Our choices in response create the path forward, and those paths lead either to growth or stagnation. Sometimes victory means persistence, continuing to press forward even when success seems distant or impossible. Other times it means adapting, changing course, or learning from failure. But in every case, the common thread is a refusal to surrender our hope and commitment. This refusal transforms obstacles into opportunities for strength and wisdom. Our response to circumstances also influences those around us. When we demonstrate grace under pressure, calm in chaos, and faith in uncertainty, we become a source of encouragement and inspiration. This ripple effect strengthens communities and reminds us that we are not alone in the battle within. Understanding that victory depends on our response empowers us to take control of our emotional and mental state. It calls us to cultivate habits of mindfulness, gratitude, and faith, tools that help us face difficulties with clarity and courage. Through these habits, we prepare ourselves to respond with wisdom rather than reaction, with calm rather than panic. Ultimately, victory over circumstance redefines what success means. It is not measured by the absence of problems, but by the presence of perseverance, faith, and courage in the face of them. This redefinition frees us from the tyranny of external conditions and places the power of victory firmly within our grasp. Within each of us lie inner weaknesses that threaten to undermine our progress and steal our peace. Fear, doubt, pride, and anger are powerful forces that can sabotage our best intentions if left unchecked. These emotions are not enemies to be ignored, but battles to be fought with courage and wisdom, for they live within us and shape the way we live our lives. Fear is often the first and most formidable of these foes. It can paralyze our spirit, preventing us from stepping into the fullness of life and potential. Fear whispers lies about what might go wrong, convincing us that failure or rejection is inevitable. But fear is not a truth. It is a shadow cast by the unknown. When we face it directly, acknowledge its presence, and move forward despite it, we begin to break its grip on our lives. Doubt works hand in hand with fear, eroding our confidence and clouding our judgment. It makes us question our worth, our purpose, and our ability to succeed. Doubt is a thief that steals joy and sows hesitation, making even the smallest steps feel monumental. Overcoming doubt requires us to reaffirm what we know to be true about ourselves, our strengths, our values, and the reasons we strive forward. Pride, though often misunderstood, can be a subtle and dangerous weakness. It can close our hearts to growth and learning by convincing us that we are self-sufficient or better than others. Pride erects walls that block humility and keep us trapped in old patterns of thinking and behavior. Battling pride means embracing vulnerability and recognizing that true strength often comes from admitting our need for help and being willing to change. Anger is another fierce adversary. It burns hot and can consume our thoughts, leading to rash actions and broken relationships. While anger itself is a natural emotion, allowing it to control us is destructive. Learning to manage anger means finding healthy ways to express frustration and transforming that energy into constructive action. It requires patience, self-control, and a deep understanding of the pain beneath the anger. Each of these inner weaknesses can feel overwhelming, especially when they rise up together. But they also offer opportunities for growth. Every time we confront fear with courage, doubt with faith, pride with humility, and anger with patience, we strengthen our character and expand our capacity for peace and joy. These battles, though difficult, are essential to winning the war within. It is important to remember that overcoming these weaknesses does not mean erasing them completely. They are part of the human experience and will arise again. The victory lies in how we respond each time, choosing not to be defined or controlled by these forces, but to rise above them with grace and resilience. This ongoing fight against inner weaknesses calls for self-compassion and persistence. It requires us to be gentle with ourselves when we stumble and courageous enough to get back up and try again. It is through this relentless pursuit of inner victory that we find freedom and a deeper sense of purpose in life. Courage is the cornerstone of every victory in the internal battle. It is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward in spite of it. True courage means facing the parts of ourselves we might rather avoid. The doubts, the failures, the pain, and choosing to stand firm anyway. It is an act of bravery that requires us to look inward honestly and confront the challenges that threaten to defeat us. Yet courage alone is not enough. The war within is long and often exhausting. It requires persistence, a steady, ongoing effort to keep fighting even when the battle seems endless. Persistence is the daily choice to refuse giving in to discouragement or fatigue. It is the quiet determination that says, I will try again, even when previous attempts have failed or fallen short. Together, courage and persistence form a powerful alliance. Courage gives us the initial strength to step onto the battlefield inside, and persistence keeps us there through the storms and setbacks. This combination transforms moments of weakness into opportunities for growth and ensures that temporary defeats do not become permanent losses. The path to victory is rarely smooth or straightforward. There will be days when courage feels distant and persistence feels impossible. These are the moments that test the depth of our commitment. It is precisely in these times that the choice to keep going, to keep standing, becomes most significant. Each step forward, no matter how small, chips away at the power of fear and doubt. Persistence also means embracing patience. Inner battles are not won overnight. They unfold gradually as we learn new ways to think, feel, and act. This slow progress requires us to be gentle with ourselves, to celebrate small victories, and to keep faith that perseverance will bear fruit even when results are not immediately visible. Bravery is not only about grand gestures, but also the small, everyday acts of standing up to negativity and choosing hope. It can be as simple as refusing to speak harshly to yourself or deciding to try again after a setback. These moments accumulate and build a foundation of strength that carries you through the toughest challenges. Moreover, courage and persistence inspire others. When people see someone facing their inner struggles with bravery and determination, it lights a path of possibility. It reminds us all that the war inside is not fought alone, and that victory is within reach for anyone willing to endure and keep fighting. Ongoing effort to cultivate courage and persistence requires intentionality and support. It means surrounding yourself with voices and environments that encourage growth and remind you of your strength. It means holding onto your vision of victory even when the battle feels wearying, knowing that every act of bravery brings you closer to winning the war within. Faith in yourself is the foundation upon which all inner victories are built. As we engage in the daily battle, we uncover layers of who we are, our values, our fears, our desires, and our true potential. The war within is not only about overcoming obstacles, but about revealing the person we were always meant to be. It is a process of transformation that deepens our understanding of life and ourselves. A lifelong commitment to this battle requires cultivating habits that support our growth. These include daily practices such as reflection, prayer, meditation, or journaling, which help us stay connected to our inner voice and aligned with our values. Building such habits strengthens our resilience and equips us to face new challenges with clarity and courage. Support from others also plays a vital role on this journey. Though the war is within, it does not mean we are meant to fight alone. Mentors, friends, family, or communities can provide encouragement, accountability, and perspective. Sharing the journey with others reminds us that vulnerability and connection are strengths, not weaknesses. Over time, this lifelong commitment brings profound changes. The internal battles that once seemed overwhelming become opportunities for growth and empowerment. Our victories, no matter how small, accumulate and shape a life of purpose and fulfillment. The process itself becomes as valuable as the outcome, teaching us resilience, humility, and grace. Ultimately, the journey of winning the war within is a sacred calling. It asks us to engage deeply with ourselves, to face discomfort with courage, and to choose growth over complacency. This ongoing commitment is the path to lasting peace and true freedom, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. So as you stand today at the crossroads of this great internal battle, remember this: the war within is not a curse but a calling, a divine invitation to rise, to grow, and to become all that you were created to be. Every day you hold in your hands the power to choose the voice that will shape your future, the strength to overcome your weaknesses, and the courage to persist when the road grows hard. Let this truth settle deep within your heart. Victory is not reserved for the flawless or the fearless, but for those who refuse to quit, those who keep choosing faith over fear, hope over despair, and love over anger. The journey is long and the fight is real, but you are not alone and you are not without power. Stand firm, believe in the strength God has placed within you, and press on with unwavering determination. The war inside may be fierce, but the victory is certain for those who dare to fight it. It's you versus you. Choose to win.